Good evening, guys out there in Southern Kentucky, as we are back on our Facebook live cast again for your Thursday evening. For the folks joining us not only on Facebook, but of course on YouTube and Twitter as well. We appreciate you guys being with us here tonight for our live cast, our final live cast of the week as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us here tonight. A lot of fun stuff coming up. I got a couple of guests tonight. Of course, my buddy Captain Chris from the morning show, and of course his podcast as well. He's going to be joining us in the second part of the show today. But I want to get right into our first guest tonight on our live cast because these guys have been super busy, and I appreciate them taking some time. He is a board certified urologist working for Grace Gilbert Clinic, specializing in robotic urologic oncology. He is the medical director of robotics as well as the president of the medical staff at TriStar Greenview. He is Dr. Matthew Rutter joining us tonight on the live cast. Good evening, Dr. Rutter. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
How are you making it, man? Thanks for joining us here tonight on the live cast. Are you at the house or are you at the office? It looks like you're in a very comfortable den area right there.
Yeah, I'm in my home office. Yeah.
Okay. Is that a leather chair you're in right there? I'm trying to make it out.
Yeah.
I'm
It is a lesson.
Okay, I've got a little bit of chair envy right now. I'm like on a stool that was supposed to go to a keyboard that we never learned how to play. You know how these things go. You know, when you've got a kid,
Sure.
it works that way. Doctor, thanks for joining us tonight, and all of our friends, of course, at TriStar Greenview, doing a lot of great work in the community, along with all of our hospital friends throughout not just Southern Kentucky, but the entire United States right now, just doing absolutely incredible work. But before we get to what you guys are doing at Greenview, some great stuff there in the community as we get back into elective and general surgeries and things like that, getting the doors back open. Let's get a little track record of you, because that bio we just read has a lot of big words in it that the guy on the radio doesn't necessarily understand all of.
Right.
Give us your, like, what is your day to day? Kind of walk us through your job role with TriStar Greenview Hospital.
So I operate 3 days a week. I have office 2 days a week. My specialty is urologic oncology, so I spend most of my time treating cancers of the urinary tract: prostate cancer, kidney cancer, bladder cancer, and I do that in a minimally invasive fashion. So I use Da Vinci, the
Right.
standard surgical robot. We started doing that in Bowling Green about 11 years ago, and we've been just going strong, working hard with that every day. And we have excellent teams that we've trained. We have fantastic outcomes, and very proud of our work that we do here.
So for the folks that don't know, the Da Vinci, that's the robotic machine, kind of, and it reminds me, and this is again the layman terms here. It reminds me of like almost like a Doc Ock machine from Spider-Man. It's got a lot of arms
Yeah,
going, right? Kind of
that's right.
describe what it looks like to the folks out there, because we've probably seen it in pictures or in videos on YouTube or something, but to put a name to the face of it, kind of walk us through what the actual device looks like.
So the device is it's actually twofold. There is a patient cart that actually is like the Doc Ock, where
Right.
you've got the arms that are coming down. There are 4 arms. One holds a camera and 3 hold instruments, and they are inserted through laparoscopic trocar sites, which are small incisions that
Right.
are about a centimeter apiece.
Right.
And then the surgeon actually goes to a console. A console is where we control it, and we actually have, for the lack of a better description, remember the viewfinder you had when you were a kid, when you
Yeah.
were looking into it?
Yeah.
That's what we look into. We look into something just like that. And then we have little controllers which have pinchers, and we control those pinchers. And whatever I do with the pinchers, the robot does inside the patient.
It's incredible technology, and you actually had a chance. You taught this right before you came to Bowling Green. This is what you. I mean, literally, you were in at ground zero when this technology came along.
Yeah.
Before you
Yeah.
ever started practicing right here in Bowling Green, where were you before teaching this to our future doctors out there?
Yeah. So I was at the University of Toledo Medical Center. I was the director of robotics there,
Right.
and I taught young surgical residents how to do this surgery. Um, my wife and I found that it would be better for us to raise our kids in a smaller community where we could spend more time with them.
Right.
And we made the move when we saw this technology moving from large city hospitals and universities to smaller communities. And it's been really well received here in Bowling Green.
As knowing some people who have had Da Vinci before, the one thing that I can speak to about it is the absolutely amazing recovery time from it. It seemed like, you're literally back up in 48, 72 hours from surgeries that may have put somebody out of commission for multiple weeks before. Is that kind of the best way to describe it?
Absolutely. We're doing complex surgical procedures to remove tumors where patients are going home the very next day, where they may stay in the hospital 4 or 5 days if we actually open them up.
Right.
They're recovering back to normal within 1 to 2 weeks when they may have been out of commission for 6 to 8 weeks before. So it is quite amazing.
How special is it to have this kind of technology right here in Southern Kentucky, serving the citizens and the communities, not just in Bowling Green, Warren County, but all of our surrounding counties as well? How special is that to be able to provide a service like that on a local level like this?
I'll tell you, one of the greatest things is patients don't have to travel. We have not just myself or a urologist, but gynecologists, general surgeons for using the device. And prior to this, folks would have to leave town. They would go up north or they would go down south to have these same procedures. And we have the expertise to do it just as well, and in some ways better. You're not having a surgical resident operate on you here in Bowling Green. We're actually doing it ourselves. So you actually have the attending surgeon doing the work.
And that's a big thing. That's a big thing for sure, especially for peace of mind and everything that comes with it. Well, hey, let's just jump into it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, because it's what is on everybody's first conversation of the day and last conversation of the day: COVID-19, the coronavirus, whatever name you want to call it. But it's out there. Let's go back to around, I guess, the 1st of March. Well, St. Patrick's Day. I mean, that's kind of our benchmark day where it really popped,
That's
I
right.
guess, here on our local level in Southern Kentucky. Kind of walk us back to around that first or second week of March when you guys kind of started hearing that buzz in the hallway that this is going to really alter life as we know it. Walk us through what those initial meetings were like. What can you share with us? Kind of break that fourth wall and let us know what was kind of going on in those meetings when you guys
So
first started hearing about it.
So we were fortunate that it didn't happen here first, right? We
Right.
were able to actually see what happened on the coasts and then gather what we were going to need to do. And one of the things I can't stress enough is how wonderful TriStar, being part of HCA, was able to get information to us so quickly. We
Right.
had multiple conference calls. How are we going to manage things? So early in March, one of the first things that Greenview Hospital did was reduce the number of entrances to the hospital.
Right.
And folks were being screened. Do you have a fever? Have you had a cough? Have you been around anybody who's been ill? Have you traveled outside of the region or the country? And screening these folks and making sure that they were safe to actually enter the building. And that was the early on, and it's continuing to this day. This is something I see as our new normal for quite
Right.
some time. But that's how this all started. And then, you come into the second week of March and schools were canceled. And then we started seeing the social distancing really being stressed, and rightly so. And the whole point of this was actually so we as healthcare providers weren't going to be overwhelmed
Right.
with huge numbers all at once, because we wanted to make sure we had the personal protective equipment to take care of ourselves, to take care of the staff, and make sure that we had the equipment necessary to handle those who were ill. And I think I've got to commend our politicians locally
Right.
who have been so great to actually shut things down early enough that we didn't see the stresses that New York has.
Right.
Recently, we've had more numbers, but we kind of expected that. We've had increase in testing.
Hmm.
People have traveled. We're starting to see the impact of the disease spread into the community. But I think we can do what we do day to day safely.
Right.
Uh, and quite frankly, where we're at now, I think the hospital might be one of the safest places to be.
We were talking about that earlier this morning on the radio show with Dr. Smith, one of your colleagues with TriStar
Yeah.
Greenview, that yeah, like you think about, especially for some folks who have been quarantined and just staying at home and and doing their part, social distancing the best they can. Uh, but now they may be starting to say, well, I got to go back for my doctor's visits, or I've got this surgery that is planned and I got to go back to it. I think they would, they need to rest at ease knowing that. Man, sometimes when you go right to where everything's going, that's the safest spot to go because you guys every single day are living the new normal lifestyle almost, right?
Right, that's right. So imagine if you come to see me in the office. Uh, Historically, you would come in, you would register at the front desk, you would wait in the waiting area, and then we would call you back when the exam room was available. Now you come in, you stay in your
Mhm.
car, you call us, we tell you to hang out there in your car, and we're trying to make it as efficient in the office as possible. As soon as we have an exam room open,
Mhm.
we call you, you come into the building, you get screened to make sure that your temperature is adequate.
Right.
You've got a mask on. Everybody has to wear a mask. Then, when you come up to the office, you go straight to an exam room. There's no sitting in the waiting area. So that is part of our new normal. Um, and I see it's different at the hospital. You come in if you have a scheduled procedure. You come in alone. You're not
Right.
coming in with family and loved ones. You get screened. If you are planning to, or if you were planning to have a procedure now with our new elective opening phase 2 that the
Right.
governor outlined for us, you have to have a negative COVID test.
Right.
If you don't have a negative, if it's positive, we're going to postpone the procedure.
Sure.
All of the staff are wearing masks. Everybody is hand washing frequently. Uh, there is all sorts of hand sanitizer throughout the facility, so
Mhm.
patients have adequate exposure to that to use for themselves.
Right.
And we preoperatively now, we have really changed our phases on how we get people set up for surgery so they minimize their exposure to anybody else. We have separate entrances for folks who are going to have surgical procedures versus, let's say, those who we suspect might have COVID.
Right.
And it's so their paths never cross.
Well, let's talk about that because now, so as for the I guess pre-surgery COVID testing out there, is that something where that's going to become like maybe part of the pre-op process? Where if I was having a knee surgery, I'd go in, a week or two before just to get the blood work taken and all the all the stuff we can do pre-op normally. Is that
Right.
something where that would become part of that pre-op process, or would it be even something pre-op?
So it's actually part of the pre-op process. And the way it's outlined is that it has to be within 96 hours of your scheduled procedure.
Gotcha.
Um, and we want to, and then once you've had the test, you have to quarantine at home, social distance completely, so you don't have a risk of exposure to somebody who may have it. And then we trust that you've done that properly.
Right.
Usually the test takes 24 hours, but it might take 48 hours for us to get back.
Right.
So we have it back in plenty of time if we need to postpone the procedure.
Hmm.
Um, so far, we've been lucky. We haven't had any of that yet. But I expect to encounter a positive test here or there. That's just the nature of
Sure.
living a COVID safe life rather than a COVID free life.
And I think too, as we get used to doing that, that's going to become just like riding a bike. I mean, it's going to be it's the new norm. And honestly, I really I'm really digging the new waiting room rules, the new check-in rules for anything it may be. To me, this is one of those things that I think had kind of been, in a weird way lobbying for a while. When they check it, it's like, hey, I don't know what's going on in here. I feel safer waiting in my car anyway. I don't see a lot of people
Sure.
having a problem with that. I think that's going to be one of those
No.
things that people are going to adapt to really quick. Same way with the mask in the waiting rooms and around the lobby. Well, and in out, really in public in general for the foreseeable future, but especially in your world. That's something I don't think you're going to get a lot of blowback on. I think people are going to feel real comfortable with that, and something maybe they wanted to do for a while anyway, and they just didn't have the nerve to do it maybe, and now they have the
So,
incentive to do it.
so go back many years ago where China had the outbreak of SARS. And if you look from that point forward, we saw many Asians wearing masks frequently for any sort of mass transit in public
Right.
places, markets, and whatnot. Uh, back then I questioned, is that really helpful? But now it looks like it very well may be.
Mhm.
The benefit really is to you as the bystander, if I'm wearing a mask, I'm protecting you.
Right.
So do me the courtesy of wearing a mask as well. And I think that if we all do this, we can go about our lives and have a normal life, a new normal, so to speak, and do fine.
Yeah. So real quick, got a few more minutes with you before I let you get back to just enjoying some, hopefully just some downtime, because I know you guys have been extremely busy. So if you have if there's something going on with you, whether if it's an elective surgery or anything like that, people need to go do that stuff. They don't need to put it off, because again, if you put it off, it could end up growing into something much worse down the road, right? If it's on the
Yeah,
schedule, stick to it, right?
that's right. So elective surgeries are not necessarily optional surgeries. You can have
Right.
an optional surgery that's elective,
Right.
but an elective surgery isn't always optional. So, for instance, let's say you have a condition, maybe you've had an ailing joint, or maybe some blood in your stool that really needs to be checked out.
Right.
If you put it off because you're afraid, that could actually escalate into something much more concerning. And it's very safe now to come to the hospital with all the measures we have in place to actually come in, and we'll take care of you. Have that addressed before it becomes something much more serious.
And that's big stuff right there. So elective versus optional, something right there you definitely want to talk to your physician about and make sure you're squared away there. Dr. Rudder, before I let you get out of here tonight, I want to say thank you to what you do and all of your staff and all the nurses and all the administration. Going out there, we've always appreciated what you do, but I think over the last couple of months, we truly, as we've all become amateur doctors in a roundabout way, we're learning terminology like PPE and quarantine
Right.
and social distancing and flattening the curve, all these terms that have been in our vocabulary now. It's a new level of respect as well for what you guys do, putting your life on the line, trying to save our lives on a day-to-day basis. What's been your emotion? What's been your, I guess, some days when you go home and you get a few quiet moments, and you can relax, on the couch or in that comfortable leather chair there or whatever it may be, your emotion about Southern Kentucky and the love that they've shown over the past couple of months, towards you, your staff, and everyone in your line of work.
I think, I mean, that's a loaded question, but I'm actually quite impressed about how this community has come together. Hospitals, two competing hospitals that have come together. We've got politicians who have come together all as
Mhm.
one to work together to help take care of this community. And that's really what we're in this business for, right? To take
Right.
care of patients. And I've been actually very impressed with how this has actually come about. And I can't appreciate everybody's input any greater. It's been a wonderful thing.
Happy you moved here a little over a decade ago, I guess, right?
Yes, I am.
Dr. Matthew Rudder, from our friends at TriStar Greenview, they are back open, and well, they were never closed, but obviously the elective surgeries and just general,
That's right.
all of that phase one is up and going, ready to go. I know you guys, and I was, I talked to Dr. Smith earlier this morning about this as well. It's almost, I bet it's like an emotion of almost like the first day of school for you guys in a way, because you're going to get to
I know.
see, you're going to get to see some folks you hadn't seen in a few weeks or a couple of months, and it's going to be like touching base maybe for the first time in a lot of ways with folks.
You got those butterflies. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Well, thank you for what you do. Send our best to everybody, and continue to stay healthy. And like I said, if folks are out there, if they got questions, reach out, get in touch, and be part of just keep this thing going, keep this positive energy going as we continue to get through this unprecedented time that we are in. Dr. Matthew Rudder, TriStar Greenview Hospital, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Continue
Thanks
best
for
of luck,
having me.
and let's talk again soon, okay?
Will do.
Awesome. Good stuff
Bye-bye.
right there. Good stuff. Dr. Rudder right there from our friends at TriStar Greenview Hospital. One of the really good dudes there. And of course, um, just, just solid work that they're doing, man. I mean, talk about rock star heroes. That is the very definition of rock star heroes right there. Uh, Joining us now on the live cast. Let's see if we can get this guy in here. Well, there's Dr. Rudder. There he is. Oh, wait a second. I don't know how you're going to follow this up, but we have from the Friends with Benefits podcast and the Tony Rose Morning Show as well. There's Captain Chris. Hey, buddy. What's going on, man? Are you there? Hey man, I've got you now. You got your ears on there. Yes. I don't know how
Good.
you,
Yeah, I got my headphones in.
I don't know how you're going to follow that. He's just a robotic doctor like Doc Ock, you know,
Yeah,
curing cancer and stuff. No pressure, buddy.
no, he's out there saving people's lives, and I'm putting out a boring podcast. So you set me up there on this one. So we'll see what happens.
Oh man, how you doing? You staying healthy? Are you literally across the street from me right now, and you can't come
I am.
over?
Yeah, I am. I'm right down the
Literally,
street.
yeah.
I wanted to be upstairs in front of the wall, like the movies and stuff, but my wife made me be down in the dining room because she wants me to show off the her decorating.
Well, let's
In
look.
the
Let's take a look at it there. What do you got going on behind you there for the folks watching? Oh
I got
gosh, we're getting seasick here. Hold
we
on.
got that
Okay.
right there. See? Yeah, I'm going to try and hold it steady.
I
So.
can't. I can barely read anyway, and that's got like different levels of writing
Yeah,
on it. So
it's cursive. Like we got
yeah,
all these knickknacks, and
yeah.
we got a really nice table and stuff.
Now, see, here's the thing.
So
Like,
she spent a lot of time decorating.
so for breaking the fourth wall here for a second, we almost have like Radio Row in our neighborhood. You live across the street from me from one side, and then Steve,
We really do. We're annoying everybody.
yeah, and is right down on the other side of you as well, two houses down from me. So it's literally Radio Row, and we've got some other media friends that live out in this neck of the woods as well. So, so once this quarantine ends, we're just all going to get together and just do this podcast live, and I'll come over and do your podcast. It's like Podcast Central over here.
Yeah.
We could have a convention,
Yeah, it is. It's meeting
Anyway,
in Ellie over here.
yeah. So,
Anyway.
have you noticed that I have a new Wi-Fi internet at my house? I got a new router, so I got to rename my Wi-Fi at the house.
Oh no! What did you name it? I haven't seen it yet. What did you name it?
Well, we
Can you
have.
say it on the air. Can you say it on here?
I can say it. Yeah, it's Facebook. We can say it's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can say anything.
Okay.
As long as
Yeah, don't tell me
yeah,
that.
as long as it agrees with their agenda. That's all. It's if
That's true.
if it agrees with their agenda, it's totally fine. So, no, it's Chris Hansen's Free Cookies is my Wi-Fi name, and then
That's a good one.
our guest Wi-Fi is Spycam Tracker 5000. That's what that one is.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one. That
Yeah.
is good.
So
Uh,
anyway, you could probably. I bet you could see it from your house. I bet you could probably see like
Probably.
one of the
So. Have you
networks.
found the funny one? Does ours reach over there?
I'll have to look. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see.
You'll know it. You'll know it if you see it.
Checking our Wi-Fi
Might-
neighborhood passwords
not.
here.
It might not reach. over
Let me
there.
see.
Good if you.
No, I'm not picking it up. I'm not picking it
Okay.
up. The,
It's offensive, so you would know.
I got you. No. The power of Chris Hansen's free cookies is
It's
overwhelming.
too strong.
It's too strong. Yeah, it's way too
Yeah.
strong. So, anyway, what's going on, buddy? You good? Everything good?
Man, just hanging in there.
Yeah.
It stinks. Like this is the time of year that I'm usually out. Going to conventions, going all these places, and everything's canceled. Everything's
Right.
shut down. Everything's postponed. So it's tough. And I say that, in perspective because it's not like really tough compared to how other people have it. But like
Right.
it's hard because it's like I haven't seen my friends in a really long time, and I haven't nerd problems. I haven't been able to bust out any new costumes in a while, so it's tough, man.
Well, hey, we did get the news today. We did get the news that restaurants are going to be opening back up on May 22nd, which is fantastic
Right.
news.
It's almost like Uncle Andy knew that there was something special going on May 22nd, and he wanted to open up a restaurant.
Yeah, and then also
that.
I was going to say that also is a very special day because that's your birthday, right? So you get
Right.
you get restaurants back on your birthday, which is
Yeah.
all a man could want and ever ask for, right?
And how I like them at 33% capacity, so
yeah,
everybody can stay out.
plenty of room. Plenty of room.
Exactly.
Well, okay, and here's the thing: 33% capacity. Now,
Yeah.
you hear that number and you go, "Well, that's just I don't know how they're going to keep the doors open." But you think about it when you go to a restaurant I bet right now if we go back in the Wayback Machine about 3 months on a Thursday night, there wouldn't be a lot of restaurants that would be operating over 33% capacity anyway. at this time. You know,
No.
like it would only be about 25% full. There would be no wait. You'd have tables empty all around you. So I don't think it's going to be a big of a change. Now on a Friday and a Saturday, sure. But if you want to go out to eat on a Monday or a Tuesday, I think it'll be, you won't notice, well, you'll notice lots of changes, but as far as the atmosphere, I don't know if it'll be a lot different.
Right. And that's the thing is like if you look at some of these capacities, you go to a restaurant and they'll have them posted and you'll say, how are they going to get 500 people in here anyway?
Right.
And like the capacities are always really high. So saying, 33% of what is probably twice as much that could comfortably fit in there anyway, I don't think that's going to be a huge deal.
Yeah. And now I think you're going to see a lot of change. I don't know if you've been following this, but I've been following, like these other states and what they're doing with their restaurants and things like that. Obviously, you're going to see a lot more face masks and things like that. One thing I noticed that a lot of restaurants are having to do, they're having to take down their in-house music
Oh
because
yeah.
they want the transaction, the interaction between the customers and the waiter and the wait staff. They don't want yelling. They want to keep it as low.
Right.
They don't want to have to project. Because I guess the louder you project, the more likely you're gonna spread germs and whatnot. So they want it. So it may be quieter dining at some places. So we'll see.
Well,
yeah.
when I asked for honey mustard for a third time, I would like it to be at a reasonable volume, I guess, rather than yelling.
Yeah. No more yelling for the honey mustard. A couple other things too. Of course, June 1st, something you don't have to worry about, but gyms can open on that date. Which I'm very excited
Yeah.
about.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. I have no
Yeah.
care about that. Whatever.
And
I've driven through a gym parking lot, but that's about it.
but one I know that will hit home for you is movie theaters have the opportunity to
Yes.
reopen as well. All right. All right. Prognosticate for me what you predict movie theaters to look like in about 3 weeks. Not just here locally, but anywhere we may go see one at. What are they going to look like in 3 weeks?
You're going to see reduced amount of showings. You're going to see less showings overall. You're going to see every second or third seat is going to be blocked off. You won't be able to do anything with it. The big question mark that I've got and is how concession stands are going to look.
Right.
Because everybody's really concerned about how the theater itself is going to look. But the concession stands where they make most of their money, there's a lot of food handling, passing back and forth, people sharing items. Like when was the last time you went to a movie with, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, and you got popcorn that you didn't share?
Right.
So like you've got a lot of that going on. So concession stands are going to be a little bit weird. I don't know how they're going to do that, but you're going to see a lot of actual screening reductions and seats blocked off, just keeping as much distance from people as possible.
And on the other side of that too, so many movies have been put on the shelf for either way later in 2020 or all the way into 2020, 2021 now. So that's not going to be a lot of pictures to go see at the movie theater. On top of that, it's not like there's a Star Wars movie hanging around out there or a new Avengers movie hanging around out there that you're going to have crowd problems with. I mean, most of these movies you would go to and it would only be, 25% full anyway, probably.
Right. Near and dear to my heart, the new Ghostbusters movie pushed back to March. So, I mean, I don't have a reason to go to the theater for the rest of the year now. So
I really hope that they keep with the digital approach too. We did the Trolls World Tour. I think anybody out there who has a child in the age window that my child is, in that kindergarten through fifth grade range, you will pay a premium to watch it in the comfort of your own home with a pause button all day long. And that was money well spent right there, for sure. Of course, now that the concession stand side, it doesn't affect me as much because for years I've been a fan of being a candy mule. I will stop at the Walgreens on the way in and, essentially my pants will be hanging, down. I look like I'm a rapper from the 90s. I'll have so much sag going on, but that's my goobers and everything else that I candy mule into the theater. I'm one of those guys. I'm sure I'm just, I guess, admitting guilt right there, but whatever.
smart. It's just
Yeah.
a smart way to go.
Yeah. So, and a couple other things here too. I'll throw this out here. Yeah, so June 1st, that June 15th, youth sports was announced today. That's good for my kids. You can actually get outside and maybe, do something outdoors in a sport. Um, and then obviously retail opens back up for on May 20th, which is just a couple of weeks away as well. I think retail will be interesting to see how that works out as well. What do you think retail is going to look like here in a couple of
Yeah,
weeks?
as somebody who has PTSD about retail experience, I mean, I think you're going to see at least the first couple days, you're going to have a lot of people. And there are still people that, they're going to feel like even if stuff is open, they're not going to go anyway because they want to wait it out.
Right.
They're going to hang back. They're going to, they still don't feel completely safe. So they're going to wait. But you're going to see a lot of people that Lowe's and Home Depot aren't enough for them. And so they want to get back out to everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, the thing that I'm more concerned about is traffic. Because I'm getting used to hitting every green light and not having a lot of traffic out. And especially, where people have been recognizing there's not a lot of extra traffic.
Right.
So they're kind of driving faster. They're kind of taking more chances. When you add more cars because more people are going back to work or there's more places to go, have kind of a recipe for some challenges. So that's what I'm more worried about, traffic.
It's going to be interesting. Next couple of weeks should be pretty interesting stuff. Talking to Captain Chris, of course, from the Tony Rhodes Morning Show. He'll be there with me tomorrow morning. Also on the Friends with Benefits podcast, which you can check out online as well, and all that fun stuff. You're not a robotic doctor like Dr. Rudder was, but still, I know you're trying. I know you're trying, and
I'm trying the best I can, man.
And that's all that matters. Are you watching anything good right now on TV? What's the hot show that you guys are watching across the street?
Let's see. We are we just we've gotten through all of the trending stuff on Netflix. We got through Tiger King. We got through we were really hit by the Circle, their reality show.
Right.
Got bit by that bug, which was really fun. But we're kind of we're back into the true crime.
Okay.
We're hitting the true crime stride. So that's kind of where we are. I'm trying to get my wife to catch up on Better Call Saul because I'm a little bit behind. She wants to watch it with me, but she's not caught up. So, that's what I'm trying to ease her into getting caught up in Better Call Saul.
You guys watched Tiger King, right? You did Tiger King?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see this? For the very first time since Tiger King debuted, fans were able to visit Joe Exotic's Oklahoma Zoo, now called Tiger King Park, by the way. They reopened it to hundreds of people showing up. That's why you want to lift bans in Oklahoma right there, is for Tiger King Zoo. Jeff Lowe still owns the zoo, and alleged hitman Alan Glover was there to do a meet and greet as well. So they are cashing in on the Tiger King fame.
Yeah, I've seen now that a lot of conventions are doing like virtual conventions,
right?
And they're getting a bunch of Tiger King people. Like they're getting the I forget the guy's name, but the Libertarian campaign manager. Yeah, like he's doing the circuit. So they're all getting those extra checks, man. Like everybody's trying to cash in on it.
Keep this in mind. The country pretty much went on full lockdown on March 20th, when the first episode of Tiger King premiered on Netflix, by the way. Just saying that maybe the two are tied together. That's where
conspiracy. I think so.
That's where it all started.
Yeah,
that's where it all started right there. Did you see where The Simpsons predicted this outbreak as well?
Oh, did they really? I'm not surprised, but I haven't seen it yet.
Backstory for the folks that don't know, The Simpsons have a history of predicting major events in the world, from teams winning the Super Bowl to even President Trump winning the election to natural disasters, whatever it may be. And now it comes out that they predicted not only a pandemic, much like the coronavirus, but also it would be distracted by an attack of killer bees.
Wow.
And of course, we now have murder hornets flying around.
Yeah.
Why not?
Murder hornets, like just coming around.
Which actually, I actually asked the doctor when he was on earlier. I said, "What are the odds?" We didn't do it on air, but off the air, I was like, "What are the odds that these murder hornets?" And now keep in mind, he's a urologist, but keep in mind, I said, "What are the odds that these murder hornets are going to be not only extremely deadly, but also that they will be that the smell of Germex and Lysol is a natural accelerant for them to become ultra aggressive. That could definitely
Yeah.
happen at this point, right? Anything could go wrong."
Oh, I believe it. Like 2020, nothing surprises me anymore. I would not be shocked whatsoever.
So, okay, so what's a virtual convention though? Yeah, you said that a second ago. So how does this work? Is it just like you get a bunch of celebrities in a Zoom call? What is it? Like a cameo? What is this
Yeah,
thing?
it's basically it's basically like you sign up for like a panel, and it would be like a group Zoom call.
Right.
They'll bring in a bunch of guests, like attendees, and then they'll have guests give their back and forth, and then people can ask questions. You
Right.
can sign up to have signed 8x10 mailed to you. I'm not buying into it. It doesn't replace an actual convention, so I'm holding off on them. Even though there is one that is it's all Ghostbuster themed, I'm staying away from it.
Wow.
Not doing it.
How many
Not doing it.
conventions? How many conventions have gotten canceled this year because of Corona?
I mean, it starts at the top with San Diego Comic Con.
Wow. Yeah, that's right.
there's
That's right. Yeah.
dozens. E3, the big video game convention,
Yeah.
trickling all the way down. Lexington, which was supposed to be in March, then got pushed to June, then got canceled. So there's still a couple that are on the books for like mid to late October that everybody's just kind of hanging on and waiting and seeing. But who knows?
That's
We'll see what
crazy.
happens.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
hundreds have been postponed.
I mean, you don't really think about it. I mean, like, can these conventions take a year off and still be relevant? Because those are the
Right.
things that a lot of people are going through right now. Like, if they cancel for a year, can they come back? I mean, I know baseball teams are like that, leagues, all kinds of stuff. So I mean, San Diego may be a little bit different because that's like the
Right.
biggest of all of them. But I mean, can Louisville or Lexington, can they cancel for an entire year and not like, like or could they financially hold on to that?
It's tough. I mean, some of them are like they're owned by people that have multiple outlets. Like they've got retail stores and other conventions, other things. So some of them are better off than others, and some of them, that's their only source of income is a convention, and so some of them are going to they're going to look a lot different going forward. Because that's the other thing is even when conventions come back, one of the big things is going in and shaking a celebrity's hand.
Right.
And
Can't
that's
do
not going to
that.
be really possible anymore. So like, what do? It's going to change a lot of how that looks. And I don't know that people have really thought about that yet. It's going to look a whole lot different even when they come back.
Wow.
So
You think about that, man. Yeah, we can't ever. I mean, we can never shake hands again. You know?
ever.
I
Not
mean,
once.
that is we've learned words like PPE and social distancing and all these things. But, like, are we ever like? Can people hug ever again? Like, or is it going to be like one of those things where it's like, it's like when you see somebody who doesn't wash their hands when you when they leave the bathroom, they're forever unclean to you at that point.
Oh yeah,
And
they
it's
are
like,
marked, and you can.
I mean,
never
think
be
about
near
that.
them again.
Like in literally like 2 months, the most friendly gesture you can do to another human being, shaking their hand, has been
Yeah.
erased from our vocabulary, erased from
Yeah,
our database of ways to show affection. That's absolutely, I mean, that's staggering, isn't it?
Yeah. Howie Mandel was onto it when he was fist bumping years ago. And he
We
was
can't
ahead of it.
we can't even fist bump. Like,
No, not right now.
I mean, well, man, and hugging, you know,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. I mean, you think about that. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's so wild. It's so wild, you
Yeah.
know. And you think about something like Zoom, because that's what we get the guests on for the show. You're on Zoom right now. I use
Right.
Zoom twice a day. My kid uses it 2, 3 times a day. I didn't know what Zoom was 2 months ago. Had no idea.
Yeah.
You know,
Not many people did.
it's
They don't
pro-
want you to know that.
it's probably
It would hurt their
collecting.
feeling.
It's probably collecting so much information from us right now.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah.
And at the
Oh,
first of this interview, I told it my like Wi-Fi network name, so it's probably already logged in. Like, what if Zoom is like Skynet, like the Terminator? And it's like at some point it's going to take over, and it's going to cut down all communication. I don't know. Sorry, I get thinking out loud. Sorry about that. Anyway.
No, well, just don't look at how much Zoom is involved with the Chinese government. You'll be fine.
Yeah, totally.
Don't think about it.
Yeah.
Don't think about it.
Oh gosh, Captain Chris on the show with us, host of the Friends with Benefits podcast, executive producer of the Talk Nerdy to Me podcast. Where can people hear these shows at? What's the best way to go about doing this thing?
All of our links for all of our shows are on our Facebook page. It's all under the Talk Nerdy to Me brand.
Right.
And so it's facebook.com/Talk Nerdy, the number 2 Me show.
Right.
And it's got all of our links for all of our shows. We post the Friends with Benefits show twice a week right now. Talk Nerdy to Me goes up once a week. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give extra content. A lot of people are stuck at home. A lot of people are looking for stuff, to kind of take their mind off of what's going on.
Right.
And, all of our stuff is like outside the box weird. Like you're not going to be caught up in reality when you're listening to our show. Like it's an hour, an episode to kind of unplug from everything else and just, kind of get lost in the crazy world that is our minds.
Good stuff. And of course, you're on the show with me as well on D93. You'll be there tomorrow morning with us, where we're giving away $100 tomorrow with our stimulus song of the day. That's a little shameless plug there for me. We have actually went now into phase 1 reopening of the prize closet. So we're actually giving away some stuff tomorrow on the show as well. So it's a lot of fun. And you're our favorite person at the radio station as well, because you smuggled in some Germ-X for us a couple of weeks ago.
I did.
I don't know if it was, like off-market secondhand Germ-X, but either way, we're
fell off a truck. Don't ask any more questions.
We're grateful for that, buddy. All right, man. Everything else good? Everything good across the street?
Yeah, man, just here's what makes me sad is I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, it's already time to mow again.
Yeah.
And I hate it. And I heard the weather today and it's going to be like 30 degrees Saturday morning and I'm going to have to get out and mow and I'm not excited. But other than that, everything's good. I'll tell you what we did do.
Okay.
And I'll send you pictures of this because it's funny. We got a cat and we have a cat and the cat does not have claws.
Okay.
So, she's not able to go outside and but loves like looking outside, watching everything.
Right.
So we bought a harness for the cat. And now if you drive by at the right time, you can catch us actually walking the cat outside because the cat will go out and walk with the harness on. And it is a surreal sight to see a guy in his 30s walk a cat.
That may be
front yard. So
that could be one of the most desperate things I've ever heard. If it works, I may look into it. Because
it was $8.
Wow.
It worked, like the cat loves it, and she hates like everything. Like we've tried other things to bring her outside. She hates it. We put this harness on. She loves it. Now she runs for the door and wants to go outside with the harness on. So
wow.
That's now that's what this quarantine has done to me is now I'm walking a cat on our front lawn. So if you ask me how sane I am, there you go.
There you go. Captain Chris, host of the Friends with Benefits podcast and the Talk Nerdy to Me podcast, executive producer. Check out those great podcasts there and follow along. Like I said, it's a chance for you to just kind of check out of reality for a little while. If you're on the treadmill or something, some good stuff to check out there. I'll see you tomorrow morning, buddy. Okay.
All right, buddy. I'll see you there. As long as you don't change the locks, I'll be there.
If they change the locks, it'll be a surprise to me as well. We'll both be looking for work. So
fair enough.
Good stuff, buddy. I'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, there you
No,
go.
thanks for having me.
Captain Chris, right there, the Friends with Benefits podcast. I like that, man. A couple other things to talk about before we get out of here. Chris is a good dude, by the way. Good dude. We've been best buds for 6, 7 years, 8, 10 years. I don't know how long it's been. A long time. A couple of things. We got our good news story for the day coming up. And one thing I want to put a plug out there for, which I think is really, really cool, at stuffthebusky.com. That is our website for the Stuff the Bus Foundation. And we got some cool new stuff on there that I want you guys to take a look at. We have coloring pages that we have posted now. You really can't, I'm going to get a good look at that. I don't know if you can get a tight shot of that. But that is, we have 3 different coloring pages that the kids can download for free on our website, stuffthebusky.com. That is Stuffy the Squirrel. That is our mascot. That was colored. Kenner did that one. Our mascot for the Stuff the Bus Foundation, Stuffy the Squirrel. He has some healthy at-home tips, like family fun time right there. And you can see things that Stuffy does with his family, like watching TV shows together and reading. Keeping connected, where Stuffy is doing like a Zoom call with all of Stuffy's friends from school and sending letters. And then, of course, exercise, which is also very, very important. Stuffy doing some of his favorite exercises. And you can download these for free if you've got kids or you know somebody that does. Tell them about the website. They're right there. It says coloring pages on the site. And you can download these for free. You color them. Presented by our friends at Logan Aluminum, which they have such a great community outreach at Logan Aluminum, helping put these on. But they're free to download. And if you do have the kids color those, post them on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and tag the Stuff the Bus Foundation or tag me as well in them. And so we can brag about you and show everybody your cool coloring work. But I'm tickled pink because, who would have thought 15 years ago we started Stuff the Bus and now we have coloring book pages with a squirrel mascot. Isn't that just awesome stuff right there? So that is really, really cool. And our friends with Sublime Media Group helped get that together as well. So a big thanks to Sublime Media Group for finding the artist and hooking that connection up. And then, of course, Logan Aluminum with their tremendous outreach to the Stuff the Bus Foundation to help get this project off the ground. You would think something as simple as a cartoon coloring pages would be really easy to pull off. If you do it legally, it's quite tough. So it took a lot of work, but we do appreciate those great partnerships and get the kids to download those and color those and post them up across social media if you don't mind. Also, what else is going on before I get to the good news today? Big thanks again to Dr. Rudder for joining us from TriStar Greenview. He was just the new normal for hospital life right there. A lot of great guests this week on the show. Captain Chris as well with the podcast there. We had, who else did we have on this week? My goodness, I've lost track of all the guests we've had. Just a lot of good folks, and we appreciate everybody joining us this week on the live cast. Today's good news story. This is pretty cool right here, man. Not one, but 2 pandemics this person has survived. 107-year-old Marley Asher. Marley Asher of Washington, D.C., 107 years old. She survived not one, but 2 global pandemics. When she was 6, she was smack dab in the middle of the Spanish flu. Can we see that chart again, Kenneth? Can we see that chart again? Can we see Philadelphia and St. Louis? The Spanish flu. She had it. She contracted it at 6 years old, survived it. Then last month, she was admitted to the hospital with coronavirus. That being 107 years old, doctors gave her a slim to none chance of survival. She wasn't having that diagnosis. She disagreed with that. They said she had 12 hours to live. She said, nah, not today, not on her watch. Her daughter says that doctor didn't know my mother very well. 5 days later, 5 days later, she got discharged from the hospital and returned to her senior living community in Washington, D.C. Good to go. How about that? I'm just going to say it. That's badass. That is awesome. Good for her, man. Hey, guys, that's going to do it for the live cast tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We ran late tonight. I usually don't like to go for almost an hour, but it was a lot of fun. We just got going and going and going. Mark those dates on the calendar. We talked about a lot of them coming up. A lot of them start May 11th, and they roll right through next week with retail opening, churches opening, just so many things happening, and it's going to come at us really, really fast. Also on May 11th, of course, you got to start wearing those masks out in public. Do your part. You know, I like to tell people, just play ball for a little while. Let's get through this thing because I want football in the fall. The NFL schedules are coming out tonight. My beloved New Orleans Saints schedule is out tonight. Let's just play ball because I want college football and I want NFL football and I want something that looks like Major League Baseball and I want the hot rods back and I want WKU in the fall and I want everything else. So let's just do what they say and get through this thing. Have a great rest of your night. Hey, next week, scheduled programming adjustments. We won't be here Monday because Monday I've got an appointment. Yeah, I've got to go get my Invisalign taken off. I'm going to Invisalign and Jaboski Orthodontics. So I got to go do that. So we won't have a live cast on Monday. And then Tuesday, we're not going to have a live cast either because I've got a board meeting for Stuff the Bus where we get to talk about helping kids. So that's going to be out too. But we'll be back Wednesday of next week with my buddy Adam Butler from Bowling Green Parks and Rec. Hopefully by next Wednesday, he'll have some insight on when the water park could be looking at an opening or what they're going through or anything like that. Adam's going to join us next week on the show. Have a great rest of your night. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. on D93, Captain Chris will be there, and we'll have your shot to win. And we'll have a shot for you to win more money with our D93 stimulus package. Have a great night, everybody. Stay healthy, stay safe, and